The moment I stepped onto my porch that Saturday morning, pajama pants wrinkled and a half-eaten waffle in hand, I knew something was off. The air was too tense, too still. Then I saw her, Chelsea. White bridal robe, tear-streaked mascara, barefoot on dewy grass, screaming across the yard like a melodramatic soap opera villain. "You need to take your fence down right now. It's ruining my wedding photos." Behind her, 6 wedding staff stood frozen. And beside her, a man in a tuxedo. Ryan, the groom, looked like he was rethinking every decision that had led him to this moment. I blinked into the morning sun, wondering if I'd accidentally walked into a fever dream. But no. It was real. My 6-foot-tall, code-compliant, freshly painted wooden fence was apparently the villain of the weekend. It had started a week earlier. A flyer slipped into my mailbox, invited me to celebrate the union of Chelsea and Ryan. They lived 2 doors down. I'd never talked to them beyond the occasional wave. I figured their wedding might bring noise or parking drama, nothing I couldn't handle. What I didn't know was that Chelsea planned to transform the entire street into a wedding venue. Her backyard was nice but not grand. Unfortunately, the perfect sunset shot she envisioned ended behind my fence, which meant my unassuming, regulation-approved barrier was now her arch-nemesis. 3 days before the wedding, 2 of her planners knocked politely, asking if I'd consider hanging some white drapes on my fence to blend the view. I declined. Politely. They left. The next day, someone measured my fence from her side. The day after that, fabric samples were thumbtacked to it like I was hosting a craft fair. I stayed calm. Sent a message to the HOA. Even texted Ryan. He replied with, "I'll talk to her." Red flag number 2. The morning of the rehearsal, I found sheer curtains zip-tied through my fence slats from my side. They flapped like ghost sails. I got scissors. Cut them down. That's when the shriek hit. Chelsea stormed across the grass, veil trailing behind her. "Do you have any idea what you've done? Those were imported from Italy. This is my fence. On my land," I replied calmly. "You don't get to decorate it for your photo op." She pointed at me like I'd murdered her puppy. "You will regret this. You're ruining everything." That night, I found a letter taped to my door, fake HOA letterhead, nonsense about visual continuity for special events. There was no such bylaw. I checked before I ever built the fence. I called Martin, our actual HOA president. He sighed before I even finished. "She's been pushing us hard. Threatened to file a county complaint if we didn't pass a temporary ordinance. Technically, we drafted one. But it's just a suggestion, not enforceable." I laughed. He didn't. "Just hang in there till Monday," he muttered. Next morning, I caught a drone buzzing over my backyard. I walked out, flagged the vendor. "The bride said the airspace was cleared," he said. "It's not. Please move the drone." He did. But the look on his face said he'd rather be anywhere else. Later, hammering sounds. I peeked through the fence. Her team was erecting a wedding arch just inches from the property line. "That strip of grass is mine," I said, walking over. "Survey's available if you want it." Chelsea stood next to the arch, lips tight, eyes burning. One planner offered, "Maybe we angle it slightly?" Chelsea hissed, "No. It has to be there." My backyard turned into a passive-aggressive war zone. I installed motion sensors, timed sprinklers, and positioned a Bluetooth speaker to randomly play bagpipes. Chelsea texted me via Ryan's number, "You think this is funny? You just made yourself a target." That's when I had the idea. She wanted the fence to be part of her wedding? Fine. I'd make sure it was unforgettable. The next morning, white folding chairs lined her side of my fence. Flowers. Fairy lights. All intertwined in my lattice. My locked gate had clearly been bypassed. I calmly removed every light and set them gently on her side. That's when I saw her, arms folded, standing like a villain waiting for a final boss battle. She didn't yell, just stared. Minutes later, Martin knocked on my front door, disheveled and weary. She pressured the board again. Got us to pass a temporary resolution for event decor enhancing community harmony. Not enforceable, but she's threatening to sue. I didn't flinch. Unofficially, Martin added, "You can do what you want. Just brace yourself." Then came the landscapers. Quick-grow flowers, fake rocks, garland all along my fence. I asked for permits. They said just following orders. I called non-emergency dispatch. By the time police arrived, the decor had vanished and Chelsea had switched into victim mode. He's harassing me, making it impossible to enjoy my own wedding. I pointed to my security camera. Footage. Decorations at 2 a.m. All recorded. The officers were polite but firm. Ma'am, you can't decorate someone else's property. Chelsea fumed, muttering about the patriarchy. Later, I caught her photographer trying to frame out my fence. Just Photoshop it out, she snapped. The final straw? She screamed, he just wants attention. So I called my cousin Marnie, a muralist. Wanna paint something wild? Only if I can do it big, she replied. Under cover of darkness, we created it. Chelsea, cartoonified, tiara blazing, bouquet exploding, mouth wide mid-scream, tiny stick guests fleeing beneath her. Speech bubble. My special day. Below, in elegant cursive dedicated to community harmony. The next morning, a bridesmaid wandered outside, stared at the mural, dropped her mimosa. Chelsea appeared minutes later, full glam, mid-photo setup. Then she saw it. She froze, screamed, demanded to know who approved it. Accused me of harassment. Satire, I said. Protected. And the HOA allows murals. She called the police again. Officers reviewed everything, shrugged. No law broken. It's satire on private property. Chelsea collapsed on her lawn, sobbing. A bridesmaid tried to offer comfort. Chelsea screamed in her face. Doug arrived late. Chelsea threw every complaint at him. He looked at the mural, then burst out laughing. It's honestly the most accurate portrait I've ever seen. The wedding unraveled. Guests whispered, took selfies. Rehearsal dinner happened without a bride. That night, Chelsea stood outside alone, mascara streaked, glaring at the mural. This isn't over, she muttered. Wedding day dawned like a bad dream. Vendors scrambled. Music played, but tension snapped in the air. Doug was gone. At 10 a.m., a groomsman took the mic. Doug wanted me to read this. He can't go through with the wedding. Wishes Chelsea the best. Silence. Chelsea screamed. Threw her bouquet. Accused everyone of betrayal. Guests left in waves. The mural became a photo booth. The wedding became a meme. Roger from the HOA visited that evening. We reviewed the mural. It stays. It's legal. Actually, we're calling it a community art piece. Karen had resigned from the HOA. Called the neighborhood toxic. Weeks later, she listed the house. A young couple bought it. Loved the mural. Brought me cookies. Marnie sealed the paint with weatherproof coating. My best work, she said. I nodded. It's more than paint. It's proof. The mural stayed. It became local folklore. T-shirts, mugs, even Reddit threads. HOA meetings finally became calm. And Chelsea? Moved 2 towns over. Last I heard, she's warning people about toxic neighbors. But the truth remains. She tried to control a community. And she lost to offense.